Welcome to the latest episode of Harlem Stories. I'm Robert Lazo.
I'm Adam Feinberg.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about grocery stores, or AKA places to buy food in Upper Manhattan. And this is probably a gigantic topic to handle, but I'm going to, start out with mentioning a few places. Probably, I guess we could start out with Whole Foods because that seems to be one of the go-to places in Manhattan.
Yeah, so Whole Foods opened up on 125th and Lenox a few years back. And I guess what's interesting now, if you understand like the Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, the way they tend to work, is Trader Joe's tends to be much more risk adverse in choosing locations. So a lot of times, not unusual to see a Whole Foods and then the Trader Joe's nearby. Well, that's exactly what's going to be happening in Harlem going forward. So right now, under construction is kind of diagonally across the street from where the Whole Foods is going to be a Trader Joe's. Big shocker there, but we had heard rumors for years that that Trader Joe's was looking for a location in Harlem, and they're going to be settling on a building, a brand new building that's in the process of being constructed right now. It's my understanding, and we're in middle of February right now, but it's my understanding that the building topped off, which meant that it hit its highest peak at this point, and no longer going to be building upward. They're going to be filling in the space about 2-3 weeks ago or so. So, now that the building is topped off, they can start moving on the facade and doing all the interiors. So it's probably looking like that Trader Joe's will probably likely wind up opening within the next, a year and a half, 2 years or so. I guess worth also mentioning in that same building, there is going to be a civil rights museum and also a Target.
Oh, great. So, and then let's see, what else? Thank you for mentioning Trader Joe's because that's the store that I think, lots of people are fans of. I'm a big fan of Trader Joe's, so it's great to have one in Upper Manhattan. Another place, actually, I want to mention, unfortunately it's not open, which is the Fairway that was at 125th Street. You want to talk a little bit about that particular store?
Yeah, so back in the 1970s, and I have personal tie to that location. My dad had come back from his Vietnam War service, and in the 1970s, he wound up working at what was a meat packing plant where the Fairway was last located. And he was their bookkeeper, and he, actually managed the cash over there. But it's amazing. Then Fairway, when they took over that location, it was considered the largest supermarket in all of Manhattan. And, supermarkets have since grown in Manhattan, but that location, it had 2 parking lots, and it was right off the 125th Street exit on the highway. So it made it really convenient, not just for Manhattanites to go because you could catch the 1 train, over there, or alternatively for a lot of people that, especially those that had cars or were going out of the city, let's say they were going back to the suburbs, it was an easy stop off on their way home. So that location on I think it's 12th Avenue and around like 130th to 133rd. It was considered the 125th Street location. They have since closed it because of Fairway's own financial considerations. Most recent development is that apparently that had been up for sale as a result of Fairway's bankruptcy proceedings, and apparently the high bidder on it was Columbia University.
So it's really interesting. In fact, you probably saw there was a recent article. Some community leaders had requested or strongly suggested to Columbia that they utilize that space as a grocery store again.
So Columbia has not necessarily decided like exactly how they want to use the space, but it does seem like they are in line with what the politicians, the local community reps, have wanted. And quite honestly, considering that they're building more residential nearby, and we are seeing growth of new buildings, new condo buildings nearby as well. I think it's only going to make sense to have new supermarket space over there. Now, there's also, and I know there was a hearing, unfortunately, I missed it last week or about a week ago, for the supermarket that had burned down on Amsterdam Avenue, somewhere around 130th or so. I know there was a proposal for a new tower to go up, and I know there was it was going to be inclusive of supermarket space there as well. That said, I don't know where that outcome is going to be, but even still, even if, that was moving in a positive direction, that's still probably 5+ years, going forward. With Columbia, though, that space is already potentially usable today, but they obviously haven't made any decisions at this point.
Do you want to talk a little bit about in Hamilton Heights, places that people can go for getting groceries?
So Hamilton Heights is not necessarily like going to be for big name supermarkets. It's going to be more smaller, brands that you see throughout the city, like Key Foods or something like that. It's not like where you're going to go for your specialty foods. That people went to Fairway, they went to Whole Foods, they went to Trader Joe's for those types of things. But there was not necessarily, like these great options. And apparently, a lot of people have been wanting Fairway to come to, not Fairway. A lot of people want Trader Joe's to come to Hamilton Heights. I know that there is somebody out there in Washington Heights that has been in close communications with the Trader Joe's people and, trying to provide some of the community feedback out there for that to happen. Because I think whether it's Hamilton Heights or Washington Heights, I think there is definitely the interest and demand for them to expand. That said, there's, it's definitely an evolving, changing face of retail throughout Harlem. And one of the places where we're kind of seeing that the most right now is along Frederick Douglass Blvd from that 110th to 125th Street corridor. And there was a Long Island chain that had a supermarket on Frederick Douglass between 118 and 119 that had been sold to another supermarket chain called Lidl. And Lidl is actually set to open next week. We're in mid-February right now, as a reminder, so probably by, it sounds like, later February that we'll have a brand new supermarket that that replaces one that's been closed for at least a year now. That said, just a few blocks further north from there is a new smaller supermarket in the space that, for all those that have been searching for new developments, 300 West 122nd Street, they are also getting a community facility space that it was dedicated for a supermarket. It's not going to be a large chain. I think it's Lincoln. If I remember correctly, it was Lincoln Supermarket. They have a small presence in Brooklyn, if I remember correctly. And, it's not necessarily going to be a large chain. However, at that point, you are pretty close to both Lidl. You're going to be not that far from the Whole Foods and the new Trader Joe's coming up as well. So those people are going to be serviced, quite well going forward.
And another option that I would like to mention, which isn't necessarily a supermarket, but it's the green market that they have at Morningside Park. I think it's on Saturdays.
Definitely on Saturdays. I'm not sure if they're running any other days. I know in the summers, I believe they are running on other days. I'd imagine if you go to Friends of Morningside Park website, you'll probably see like the green schedule, the green market schedule on there. But it's a great little green market. Probably about, I'm guessing, around 15 to 25 vendors, if I was to venture a guess. A really great option, and like you're right on the cusp of Central Park too. So you got two parks, for the price of one almost.
All right, so there you have it. So that's just kind of an introduction to sort of food shopping options. We just covered the big ones, but thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time at Harlem Stories.